Hello, and welcome to Principles of Microeconomics. This is Module 2.2b, and here we're going to continue on practicing calculating price elasticity of demand and price elasticity of supply with two examples. So let's start off first with the price elasticity of demand. At any point in this video, you can pause and try to work out the problem yourself, and then come back for the answers and explanations. So in this problem, let's assume that we have a grocery store owner who is deciding to increase the price of smoked salmon by 10%, from $11 to $12.10. The quantity of smoked salmon that he can sell as a result falls from 40 units to 25 units. So we want to know, what is the price elasticity of demand for smoked salmon? And is this good elastic or inelastic? So as a reminder, the way that we can calculate the price elasticity of demand is through the midpoint method. We're looking at calculating it based on the change in quantity divided by the change in the price. The way that we do this is we take quantity 2 minus quantity 1 divided by quantity 2 plus quantity 1 divided by 2. That is our numerator. And then our denominator is going to be price 2 minus price 1 divided by price 2 plus price 1 divided by 2. And that will give us the change in the price. Okay, so let's calculate this. So to start off with, let's identify each of our variables. So quantity 1 is going to be 40 units. Quantity 2 is going to be 25 units. Price 1 is going to be $11. And price 2 is going to be $12.10. Okay, so now all we have to do is plug in our numbers. As you can see here, our change in quantity is going to be 25 minus 40 divided by 25 plus 40 divided by 2 gives us negative 0.462. Now, the change in the price. $12.10 minus $11 divided by $12.10 plus 11 divided by 2 gives us 0.095. So we take our change in quantity divided by our change in the price, and that gives us a price elasticity of demand of negative 4.86. Now remember, we have the law of demand, which tells us that at higher prices, we have a lower quantity demanded, and at lower prices, we have a higher quantity demanded. Because of this relationship between price and quantity demanded, we know that our price elasticity of demand, or the size of the movement along the demand curve in response to a price change, is going to be negative. So now, how can we tell if this good is elastic or inelastic? Well, when we look at the price elasticity of demand, if the absolute value is greater than 1, then our good is elastic, meaning that we're going to have a larger change in quantity than the change in the price, so that the good is relatively responsive to any changes in price. On the other hand, if the absolute value of the price elasticity of demand is less than 1, then it is inelastic. And that is telling us that the change in quantity demanded will be small relative to the change in the price. So the good is relatively unresponsive to a change in the price. Okay, so now let's think about the price elasticity of supply. Here, we have a situation where the same grocer is observing that his neighborhood is changing, and there's more and more people moving in, and therefore he sees that on average, the price of his goods are rising from $5 to $7, and that the quantity he has to supply is increasing from 1,000 units to 1,250 units. So, what is the price elasticity of supply? Well, The price elasticity of supply, remember, is calculated similar to the price elasticity of demand, where we're looking at the change in the quantity over the change in the price. So again, we have Q2 minus Q1 divided by Q2 plus Q1 divided by 2, our numerator. And all of this is going to be divided by P2 minus P1 divided by P2 plus P1 divided by 2. And that will give us the change in the price. Okay, so let's calculate price elasticity of supply. So again, let's label our variables. Q1 is 1,000. Q2 is $12.50. P1 is $5. And P2 is $7. So now all we do is plug in our numbers into our formula. The change in quantity is going to be $12.50 minus 1,000 divided by $12.50 plus 1,000 divided by 2, which will be equal to 0.22. The change in the price is going to be 7 minus 5 divided by 7 plus 5 divided by 2 gives us a change in the price of 0.33. So we take, for the price elasticity of supply, the change in quantity over the change in the price, and that gives us a price elasticity of supply of 0.667. Okay. Now, price elasticity of supply is going to be a positive number, because remember, the law of supply tells us that high prices correspond with high quantity supplied, and low prices correspond with low quantity supplied. So therefore, calculating the movement along the supply curve will yield a price elasticity of supply that will always be positive. Now, is this relatively elastic or inelastic? We can think about it in the same way that we thought about price elasticity of demand. Here, we can see that the price elasticity of supply, if it is greater than 1, then this will be an elastic good. The change in quantity supplied will be relatively responsive to the change in the price. Whereas if the price elasticity of supply is less than 1, then it is relatively inelastic, and quantity supplied will not respond greatly to a change in the price. Thank you for joining me for these examples of calculating price elasticity of demand and price elasticity of supply in Module 2.2b.